There we are.
Oh
There
my
you are.
gracious.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Oh,
Okay. I hate to get on here because I have no makeup on, but I'm going to just because I want to get an introduction going. Hello there. I am Jackie McLean Devine, and this is my wonderful favorite aunt. I've always called her all my life Aunt Dorothy, but it is Dorothy Sides. Right?
Right.
Okay. We're going to see what Aunt Dorothy remembers about Grandma. So, Aunt Dorothy, tell me, if you just dug back in your memory, what is your first memory of your mother?
Of my mother?
Yes.
One of my great memories is of my mother when we were all young children. We would go up our little stairs, and Mother, with the Bible in her hand, would read us the scriptures before she kissed us good night.
And you told me before that you were not the only one in that bed.
About 4 of us, which I complained. About 4, and I always didn't have enough room, but I slept anyway.
And I bet it was really better that way because you probably didn't have much heat upstairs.
Well, I don't imagine we had any heat.
So if there were 4 of you in the bed, you probably kept each other warm.
Well, I imagine it was good for me. Anyway, the heat, in those days we took a Saturday night bath to go to church on Sunday. And we had to take it by this old wooden stove, and I put that down.
Yes.
I burnt my rear end while I was trying to take a bath. Okay.
Now, how did that work? Tell me about that.
Well, as I was taking my Saturday night bath, I got too close to the hot stove and burnt my rear end.
How did you take a bath? Did you have a bathtub or use
Gosh, no, we had just a little, foot bath thing, I think it was. We didn't get in anything. We just did a sponge bath.
And so the cistern sat in the back of the house?
The cistern was in the back. The well was across the road. I knew every year at that time you had to have a different school every year because that's just what they did then. Well, anyway, then we'd go back in the summer and Dad would plant a big garden, and we'd go sell beans in Cape Girardeau we'd go and sell some of his garden stuff. And we'd lay around out in our wonderful yard and go to church on Sunday, and Mother played the piano, and he taught Sunday school.
I was recently in Indian Creek, and I saw where your house was.
Did you?
And then
Uncle Ivan burnt that down.
He burnt it down.
Yes, he did.
Did it belong to Grandpa still when he burned it
down?
No,
he sold it to him later on.
Oh.
And he burned it down and planted corn there or something.
Yes, there is corn there today.
Was there?
Okay, and across the creek from where you lived was where your grandfather and your dad was born in the cabin.
Yeah,
across the creek.
Across the creek?
Well, it was a street.
We had a lane there between us and the church and the school, and their house was up on the other side there. It wasn't on the other side of the creek.
Well, yesterday I was there, and I went to the location where the cabin was, the great grandparents' cabin. There was a creek between.
Maybe there was a creek there.
And then your house was across the street.
Yeah, there was a creek in back of the house.
Yes, yes.
Because it would get up when it rained.
And we tried to find the spring that you talked about. You said that in that area, that was the coldest spring.
It was a cold, good water. We had a swing over there, and he planted an orchard, an apple orchard there. We had an apple orchard, and we just had a nice summer life.
Did you drink from that stream, that spring?
He had it fixed in a well thing. It came from the well down. He put a well in that spring thing. So we had the well to drink to get our water up out of the well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a well.
Okay, so when you moved each of these times for the winter, you didn't have running water in the house in those houses.
Oh, we didn't
you?
have running water for I don't know how long. We had a cistern in the back. We bought water to wash clothes and everything. Had a cistern. I don't know who brought the water from.
And
But
then
we didn't drink that one.
And then typically you heated by wood.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I don't know how we got our wood. I don't know whether he bought it or what.
And then of course there was no electricity at that time.
Mm-hmm. So we had lamps. They cleaned the lamps every Saturday night for Sundays. And every Sunday after we get home, take my little patent leather shoes off, Mother would play the piano, and she'd already fixed our meals Saturday. We didn't cook on Sunday. So anyway, she had grape juice made in these big jars. They had the grapes in the bottom. So we had grape juice, and she'd play the piano, and we'd sing, songs, and that was our Sunday afternoon.
Big meals.
No, there was no cooking there because they thought Christian people would give the whole day to Christ.
Oh.
And there was not many people would cook. They'd do their cooking for the Saturday for Sunday. And Mother and Jeanette would never wash on, like we wanted to wash on Sunday. They wouldn't do that. Sunday was for the Lord.
Did you ever go to St. Louis to see Aunt Lizzie or Aunt Lucy?
We finally, Dad, after teaching several years, we bought a new car.
Oh.
Model T, I think they were. But it was a touring car, and it was new, brand new.
Oh.
I don't know how we did it. So anyway, we'd go up to St. Louis, and we'd stay. Well, I remember their black maid, kissed me goodbye and all. They had a maid, Aunt Lucy's had a maid. Uncle Arthur, the doctor.
Okay.
They had a maid and a chauffeur and everything, But they were that was our closest people that we had. She really kept us in a lot of clothes and stuff. Well, anyway, we would go up there, and I remember we'd take bologna sandwiches. And so anyway, had a new car. I don't know how we got that.
Well, that explains to me then how they got to California. I bet they drove.
Well, they did. They drove to. I remember driving. Yeah, we had a car then after that.
Okay. By the time you were going to St. Louis, then Ida was no longer living, was she? That was Grandpa Henson's.
Yeah, Grandpa worked for this real wealthy person, and I remember I went and stayed a few days with him, with Ida. And was she a good cook? Well, anyway, she was there with Grandpa while he worked for this millionaire, I guess he was. I worked in the yard for him. That's where he made money a lot of times. But anyway, they were living together, and I went to see him.
She died, and then he moved to Indian Creek,
and then he married this Miss McClard.
Mary McClard.
He married her.
And he lived in Indian Creek? Or Oreo, or Pocahontas, or...
I don't know where he lived with her. Do you live with her? I guess he did.
I think he did.
I don't know much about their life.
I found it on the census report.
I don't know much about after he married her, but it didn't last long because he died. She died or whatever.
Okay.
Didn't last long.
So Ida, did she come out and visit you all as well out in the country?
Well, when Mother was it Lower? She came down from St. Louis, midwife. She was a midwife. She came down and delivered her.
Is that the only child she delivered?
Well, it's the only time she came down with our house from St. Louis. That's pretty good But she had quite a few babies that she delivered.
That Grandpa had to deliver one or two of the children. Did you ever
Well, I wouldn't
hear that?
doubt, although I don't know that, I wouldn't doubt it. The one we'd get that I would see, he came with a horse and buggy.
Another doctor?
A doctor.
Okay.
But, you don't always, and there might have been a couple that, came faster. I don't remember that. No.
So then Grandma, when she washed clothes at that time, did she use a big pot outside?
A big one that she'd boil and stir the clothes, and everything was soaked and she washed out there. It was a big job doing all that.
Yes, it was.
And she made her own soap and everything. Well, of course, she made her soap too. But in our house, everything ran smooth. One girl would do this, another girl up for her. Each one had their own jobs, and we'd do it. And I always thought I did the most. Anyway,
well, you always thought you were the favorite for your dad, too.
I wasn't called me Daddy.
Okay.
And he said, you know, when I went to school with him, he said, Dorothy, you are so good in algebra and geometry. And I guess I was really good. He wouldn't let me. He said, you and Buddy Tricky, I'm going to let you skip the whatever, you know, the test. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I'd help him with grade papers and stuff. But then we'd play ball. He said, don't throw the ball at Dorothy. I guess I wasn't very good at playing ball.
I've asked, where did he go to school? And everybody seems to think he went to Indian Creek.
Who, Dad?
Yes.
Well,
he grew up there. So
he had to.
That in about 1940, they had 2 grades in high school.
That's all they had when we went in 9th and 10th grade.
So maybe that's
That's all that he taught those 2 grades. But then we go to another school. He'd teach them all. It was all the schools were different, and and then when I went to the same school, they had 8 grades in the school room, you know, and we'd have the soup and potbelly on the stove for dinner. I really liked it.
Did they cook in school? I'm making sure we have yes, we're still doing good.
8 grades there we had, and
so you mean you fed lunch at school?
Well, they'd put this big soup on the stove.
I would think they would bring their sandwiches, but
not then. No, we just cooked their own stuff there. And then I listened to all the grades they had there. You know, you could learn from all of them, and I really enjoyed that. I tell you what, I enjoyed my life from on, you know, whatever, and I never felt like I was poor. I would dig mayapple roots, you know, and walk up a mile to Oriole's store and get some penny candy. I thought that was really
And what would they do with mayapple roots?
It was sold for medication, I think.
Oh.
People dug those, and I'd dig them. It was kind of a hard job. And I'd walk up that gravel road but anyway.
Did you have shoes on?
I don't know.
They were talking yesterday when we were walking that creek bed that they would run that creek bed without shoes.
Because I don't know. I wasn't real good in the water thing. But anyway, the creek was there to go swimming. That was our pool. And the neighbors would all get together, and that was a neighbor's pool, free pool.
And it seems like, as I read the history of the McLean's Chapel, that at a time it was a very full church. There were many people who attended there.
Well, it seemed like there was pretty big crowds to me, and we'd take pennies. We didn't take dollar bills. We'd take our little penny and drop it, this woman could pray for an hour. She'd pray. But anyway, and Mother played the piano, and Dad taught the Sunday school class. And get home and say, all right, take your little black patent leather shoes off. You know, so we had to take them. But then we'd have our Sunday afternoons together, you know, with our grape juice. It was real good. It was one of those big jars, and the grapes would fall down at the bottom and made like wine.
Did you? She just put it in there? I've never thought of how to make grape juice.
Well, it was in those big gallon jars. Okay, you put the grapes in the bottom, and you seal it and keep it for a long time. I think we were drinking wine probably, but we had that on the table, and we'd drink that, and Mother would play songs, and we'd sing on Sunday.
Do you remember any big meals where the family got together, or the rest of the family, other McLeans?
We always had good food. I don't care. Mother could make a meal on nothing. I remember the blackberry cobbler we put in the center. Mother was a wonderful cook. And anyway, every day I'm not talking about the cooking now, every day she would go, and we had a little pantry before you go upstairs. She'd drink a raw egg and milk.
Why?
Well, I guess they thought that was good health or something. I'd be in there, and she'd be beating that raw egg in this glass of milk, and then she'd drink it. Every day she did that.
So you raised chickens out there? Where'd she get her eggs?
Where we get the egg? Well, I said we got our food somewhere. We never did go without food somehow. What was it? I know we always had food. Mother could make a good table for nothing. But really, we didn't seem poor.
I don't think
We didn't seem poor because, you know, he had a school every year, And I know that one in Kennet, Missouri, I'd go and lay in the cotton. We had to take off school to pick cotton. But I'd lay in the trucks. I just laid. Dad had to take off because that's what the school kids pick cotton. Oh. But I didn't pick cotton. I just laid in the truck in that nice cotton.
Well, do you remember any great big meals that you would have with other cousins and aunts and uncles? Did she ever do that?
We didn't do lots of visiting. Now, every once in a while, I would go with Dad to Uncle Ivy. They'd fish in the Mississippi River. Anyway, Uncle Dave and Uncle Ivy, we'd go in this little skiff in the Mississippi. Me going in there, you know. So anyway, we got out there and the boat was leaking.
Oh, no.
And here's what, they weren't scared. They had the can dipping the water out here. I never will forget that one. The can dipping the water out. But anyway, they would get the fish. They lived on fish, you know, Uncle Dave and they ate probably bones and everything. They ate sandwiches with the fish. They ate them.
But you didn't get their families and your families together for big meals?
No, we didn't go visiting families like they do now. We didn't do that. We go to Aunt Lucy's. And that's where we go. And then later on in life, we'd go see Aunt Elsie and all when they got to Grubville and all that. That's a later story. Anyway, we just more or less had our own home, and we let big yard with the clovers, and I'd go out there and string clovers. And we couldn't go visit all. We couldn't go visit our friends just certain days and certain hours, and we couldn't.
Well, there were a lot of you to play with, so that probably was okay, too.
And we'd lay out in the yard, and I'd string clovers, and Dad we'd sit out and we'd talk about whatever. Mother could. Oh, it was just a wonderful life for me.
Do you remember when Grandma got sick and had to go away for a while when my dad was about 3? He had to go to school with Grandpa because Grandma was not at 3 because Grandma was sick and had to go to the hospital.
Well, Wapapella, she had a cancer operation.
She did?
That was Wapapella.
Yeah.
And I remember that's where I started menstruating. And anyway, Dad, we were living at Wapapella, and I said, some blood. He said, I'll tell your sister and she'll take care of you. So Helen got me. Of course, I don't put that. But anyway.
Well, that was a good way to do it.
Yeah, so Helen, she showed me how to, fix the little pads and stuff. But then Mother got through that. It was a bad cancer, but it got cured because it never came up again. But Uncle Arthur's the one that, she went there then, that stayed whatever they did then.
Oh, so she had her operation, then she went to stay with Uncle.
I think he probably operated on it. We didn't talk about things like that. But anyway, she got over that. And Wapapella, did you ever go to Wapapella with the pigs running on? Well, I'll tell you what, wild boars.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, that's what they were. But now, this in the later years, it was some place where people go fishing a lot and stuff.
Yes, it's a bit
damn. The wild boars were running around.
Grandpa, it sounds like he taught school in Indian Creek, but then he moved around. Did he teach more than one time in Indian Creek?
No. After he did Indian Creek a long time, he started going to the other little towns like Oak Ridge and all different places there. Oak Ridge was a nice little town. And we had carbide lights instead of up close to the cemetery. I didn't like that. But Oak Ridge, I'd like to go back there. It was a nice, clean little town. We had a nice house. And didn't just the carbide lights, I guess you never heard of them. They were, did look like this, but it was carbide. It wasn't. But anyway, that's where I fell in love with some guy. Anyway, we lived there. We'd go to all kinds of different places. And I'd say, I really don't want to go, Daddy. And he'd say, you will find new friends. And I did. So therefore, I didn't fuss anymore. I just got new friends.
And his son Norman did the same thing to me.
Yeah, but I liked it though. After I got going, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked the new friends. I liked the going and seeing different places because I didn't get to go anyplace. And in Cape, that was pretty nice. We lived in an apartment there. And he went to the college. Every evening, I'd go up on the campus and wait for my dad. And I went to his graduation, and I remember I had chili every Saturday. But anyway, I went up to college and all, and sat and waited for him every day on the campus.
How old were you?
I imagine I was in my early teens. Probably, I don't know that. Anyway, because he got his degree, BS degree. I think that was pretty good for those days to get a BS degree.
Yes. So that's all we remember about those wonderful people.
Yeah.
Except you moved with them to Dittmer, Grubville.
Oh, yeah, Grubville.
Grubville.
Yeah, well, after I went there first.
Oh.
And then they came. And then Esco, he wanted to come. Oh, well, whatever. Well, here's what we knew: Youngs. That's what they owned the house, and we got to live there. And they owned a big thing, Isabel, and we were all friends. Aunt Elsie and all that. That was a different story.
So Aunt Elsie already lived there.
Yeah, they had a house down the road, and they had the tavern.
Oh.
They had a tavern, and I worked in a tavern.
Oh, I don't think everybody knows that.
I worked in mixed drinks. I bet they're really good. I bet I didn't get them mixed right. But, I did, and I got paid for it and everything, but whatever. But Grubville, I kind of liked it there and everything. And then I went to school at St. Clair, of course.
Okay, so you were still in high school when you lived in Grubville.
Yeah, then I went to St. Clair. I got tired of riding the bus, so they let me stay in a little house. This girl and I stayed. And I graduated on the honor roll, tell you.
Oh.
This teacher, always cause trouble, I think. Well, anyway, she slapped me one time. Anyway, I was in the plays and everything, and I sang in the choir and all that, and I graduated on the honor roll.
That is something to be proud of.
Well, I am, because everybody said, I'm the only one that didn't go. You don't have to go to college. I mean, Danny didn't go. It's only one of the kids that didn't go. But he is smarter than they are, makes more money than they do. But anyway.
Grandma would be proud.
And he goes to, like, Russia and all those places and lifts weights. I wouldn't do that. But he goes all different countries and different places, flies. I said, damn, I wouldn't lift weights in the first place.
My goodness.
So he thought he could remake a new woman out of me. He wanted to do exercises. I said, what are you doing? He said, practice falling down. Now, you don't practice falling. We did a lot of exercise, but I told him I'd rather not do all this heavy.
What, were you using weights?
Well, no, he would do different things. He'd have me lay down and do floor thing, get up. So he said, if you fall down.
Well, he's right about we got to keep our bodies.
He's right about something. Okay.
Well, having said that, I think we got a good movie.
Well, at least I had a good time talking to you.
Oh, I did. But this is what we need for our family, because in the old days, all we had was some writing.